Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video I want to highlight one of the most powerful combinations in the game, which is going to involve the enhancement module and intensive training. Now with that being said, I think you already know what specialist I'm going to pick. Fortified specialist didn't look too bad. I quite like sledgehammers as a starter. Not the biggest fan of sabers and stormcallers, so it was between fortified and training for me here, but I kind of wanted to try out some more hounds. Still think that they perform nicely, and having the intensive to level them early can help you a lot to get over that threshold of being able to one-shot crawlers. And I'll be up against Doxon, really powerful 501 player, strong tournament performer. And I'm quite happy about the matchup here. This could have been a lot worse for me if the opponent was like Sledgehammer Arclight. That would have been really bad. But up against Sabers and Fangs, I think I have some really good odds. Opponent will go for 2 hounds here himself. And looks like he'll be playing some aggro. We'll do the same. And then probably still want to level one of my hounds. I'm not up against crawlers, so there's not really a break point against the chaff. I mean, well, there definitely will be against the enemy hounds, so I guess there's that. But I still feel like going for the leveled hounds here is worth it, rather than holding on to it. Looks like we will be missing each other, at least somewhat. Ending up in a bit of a crossfire here, so we'll be pushing into his tower, he'll be pushing into ours. And I just pick up 2 more crawlers. I like to position these behind the hounds in case any fire is involved and you need to click sprinkler, then these guys will be running through the area that is being cleaned up. And let's see how this performs. Opponent did put some fangs on the tower, so we'll arrive there a little bit later, but that might not be the worst thing. Saber will take down our tower, but we don't have too many units here in the middle for my opponent to kill, and as we'll take the second tower debuff, perhaps we'll be able to loop around and take the win here. The Sabers really aren't good into all of these small units, and so I felt like I had good chances. 1 hound will go to the tower, but I don't think it'll have enough damage to take that down by himself, and so we will indeed pick up the first round. Really nice. It's always a bit of a gamble with these Mustang openers, because sometimes you'll be taking hundreds and hundreds of damage in the first rounds, but that's not going to be the case here. Round number 2, we immediately have to deal with unit reinforcements. Now, immediately my eyes are drawn to both the Wraith and the Marksman, because the Wraith here looks kind of good into both of our boards. And so picking up the Marksman could be a nice counter to that. Or, if my opponent picks it, then maybe I don't want to have a Wraith sitting on my board. Tarantula would be another option as well, but I felt like I really wanted to have one of these two. And I also needed to get some anti-air. I guess I could have also gone for Tarantula with Phoenix, but Tarantula just doesn't perform all that well into Sabers. It's kind of running into his units, so I'd rather try and pick the chaff clear unit that is safe. Doxon immediately goes for the Wraith. I'll pick it up too. And expecting him to go for it, I will probably need to buy a Phoenix here. Could be a Marksman as well, but because I'm pushing in and Marksmen are really slow, I tend to prefer going Phoenix. And let's have a look. So here, I have multiple options. I'm thinking, okay, do I want to have this Wraith kind of sit behind the tower to clean up any chaff that arrives quick? Or do I just want to throw it on the line and go for a cheese round? And I end up going for that second option, where I'm just willing to throw it on the line and hopefully clear as much. Because I had a lot of chaff clear units already. I had hounds, I had mustangs. I didn't feel like I need the Wraith, but it was definitely going to do well on this particular turn. And so I'm just willing to throw it on the line here to get as many of the enemy units as possible, even though we do get debuffs. And kind of just sell it next turn. And maybe play for something else. Now the debuff will wear off. The Phoenixes will do their thing. That tower has been leveled. And it looks like we will be able to clean up things. Now, after this round was over, I was a little bit sad because, well, my Wraith actually did really well. And I probably should have just, like, put it a couple of squares back rather than immediately throw it on the line, which was a A bit of a brazen move, if you can call it that. But man, have a look at this. Round number 3. Incendiary Bomb and Amplifying Core are both nice. Amplifying Core for a Wraith. Or Incendiary to get rid of these units. But a second intensive training, that could get out of control real quick. And my first intensive is also back off cooldown. And so here I'm really debating between these things, and eventually I come to the conclusion, well, okay, I have to sell this Wraith because it's on the line, and he'll likely put something there to instantly lock it. So what if we just sell it, and then repurchase it, and create a level 3 Wraith on round 3? It's very expensive, mind you, but I mean, it's a level 3 Wraith this early on. Like, surely it'll do well. My opponent goes for a very similar move, sells out of his Wraith behind that tower, and rebuys one that he immediately levels with that first intensive for him. And now the question is, how well is this going to do? We also beacon our units from the right to the left, kind of trying to avoid this level tower. And yeah, my opponent is really trying to distract me a lot on that side of the board. Hopefully we'll be able to stop this Saber from getting to tower. Looks like we will do so. The distraction arrives just in time. And thanks to that, my level 3 Wraith will just about win it out over my opponent's level 2 Wraith. And that's going to be a pretty big turn. We are selling out of the Mustangs at this point because I didn't really feel like pushing into this tower. I could have added like a steel ball maybe, but didn't really need the Mustangs. And round number 4, opponent goes for electromagnetic impact, sorry. And I decide to pick up the Nano Repair Kit, which is kind of a nasty item here, considering we just made a level 3 Wraith. Opponent does get access to his Farseer from the Specialist, and I did expect him to put it in front of my Wraith, so I decided to put some Crawlers here behind the Hounds to hopefully distract this for some amount of time. We get a pretty similar thing here coming out from the opponent. Crawler in the middle. This Wraith should probably be able to deal with it. And we also buy another Wraith in the middle here. Opponent will go for the EMP right away and purchase another Farseer. Where's that going to go? Kind of stacking them on the left side of the board. We do pick up the range on the Wraith because, well, it's our strongest asset at this point, and range should help it quite a lot. Oil being used from the opponent, but again, we're going to be beaconing these guys around. And we also have a missile here on the back left to try and protect our tower. Right side was still open, so there's a bit of a gamble there. And let's see, how does this go? Yeah, Farseer will lock on, and so the range will get lost, but it doesn't matter too much in this scenario, as the Nano Repair Kit will still work, and we are still locked onto the enemy Wraith. Sadly, EMP also slows us down, and from the looks of it, the Nano Repair isn't able to do quite enough to be able to survive both of the Farseers. Rest of our army will arrive though. Phoenixes will take the other tower that's still level 1, and the 9 seconds of debuff should be plenty to take this guy down. And that's going to be another good round for us, sending our opponent down to already 1400 hit points as we enter the mid game. And now round number 5, another Nano Repair Kit shows up. Both of us pick it. And yeah, I can just make another level 3 Wraith here. Kind of disgusting. Second one now in the middle of the board. Opponent also makes a level 3 Wraith. And again, we're going to use this mobile beacon to get around the oil. Purchasing another Phoenix because I need some other DPS. This Wraith is doing well, but I don't have an easy way right now to get Photon. Probably I do want to get Photon Boat at some point, but that's going to have to wait for at least another turn or two. And, well, I could click 8 gun, but if I get EMP'd, then that's all my damage gone. So instead I decide to buy some Phoenixes here to deal with the opponent's forces. I expect him to missile my Crawler, so I put a second one higher up to make sure that we keep distracting the Farseer as much as we can. We also miss all this crawler. I didn't really want to have to deal with it for now. I do think that I put a hound in front of it, but didn't want this to distract my phoenixes or anything. Now the opponent here goes for 8-gun Wraith as his first tech, and also ranges the hounds, which I was kind of surprised by. But I guess he only has the one Wraith, maybe doesn't want to invest into more of them, but I felt like he probably needed to just buy more Wraith at this point if he wanted to go into that 8-gun direction. This guy is going to do really well though. Already my Wraith is going down. The Farseers didn't get distracted for too long. And with that, okay, at least the middle will be victorious. But again, the EMP is really annoying my Wraith, preventing it from chaff clearing well enough for these Phoenixes. Maybe it'll be able to get rid of the Fangs. Not quite. Phoenixes will do what they can, but again, the Farseers here will be winning another round. And have a look at the damage that they're doing. 87,000 just this round on the level 2. And that leads us to round number 6, where we get a second pack of unit reinforcements. Wasp here doesn't seem to be the best thing into Farseer and Wraith. Or at least I would need to double tech the Wasp, which is kind of sketchy. And instead I go for the Rhinos here. They should be pretty powerful at level 2. And yeah, my opponent goes for the exact same thing here. I decide to click Photon first, because obviously armor enhancement here wouldn't be working against the enemy Farseers. I think this is a bit of a mistake on my end though, because I probably want to buy Photon Boat at some point to try and make use of my Wraith. But if I do that, then I obviously didn't need to buy Photon Coating on my Rhinos. Level 3 tower now on the right side, and already a lone coming out from my opponent. I decided to pick up Charge Shot on my Phoenixes because, well, we need some damage to kill this Wraith, and I was kind of expecting something big to show up, either the Worm or the Rhinos. Another Wraith gets added here all the way in the flank. Quite a lot of resources spent over there, but I guess it's relatively close to the front line still. We are again going to be moving this over. There's a Fang now in the back here to defend the flank, and that tower has been leveled as well. Rhinos will lock on, but the armor Rhinos are exceptionally tanky, so it'll take a while for us to get through. Phoenixes will lock on to that Wraith, but the Wraith fights back. It takes down both of my level 1 Phoenixes. The level 2s are arriving now. Should hopefully be able to get rid of this. They will. But that still leaves a Wraith, some chaff, and 2 level 2 Farseers with that EMP tech. And as we do clear pretty much all of the enemy board, it's again going to be the double Farseers surviving and taking down my remaining Wraith. At this point, I probably should have bought like Mustangs with Intercept, but the problem is, I'm not too sure that they would have been able to survive for long enough. This Wraith would have likely locked onto them and killed a bunch, and then it would just be a wasted like resource. I could also put some missile interceptors in the back, but I don't like running the risk of losing them because I lose a round, and then I fall even further behind because I have lost, well, a bunch of temporary resources. Now round number 7, and I feel like it's finally time to buy the boats. And I will be clicking Photon, but this is what I meant when I said it's a bit of a waste. I probably should not have clicked the Photon on the Rhinos and should have thought ahead a little bit, wanting to get the Photon boat either way. Now, I'm trying to make sure that this boat does cover the Wraith. And so I'm thinking, oh, maybe if I move it back a little, because I think it is like right on the edge of where the Photon will land. And ideally, I would have it a little bit further up. So eventually, I think what I do is I just sell this Phoenix and say, okay, it's in the way. I should have like pre-planned this, but I don't want to have to like do some gymnastics with the mechs. I want to make sure that this does get hit guaranteed every round. And so we move up the Overlord. This also coincides with the electromagnetic impact turn, by the way, so that's why we do that. And I run a little bit out of time here and accidentally clicked Degeneration Beam. That was meant to be floating artillery array. Reason being, my opponent also could just buy a photon boat and it would make his army a lot stronger. So I think Degen Beam doesn't really do too much. But yeah, a little bit, running a little bit out of time there at the end. Still, Photon Beam will be decent this round. But of course, we'll get turned off as soon as the Photon goes away. Boat has locked on, but this round looks a lot worse. Opponent went for a Wraith flank, which did go through. And, okay, we clean up a decent amount of units, but still 2 Wraith left alive, the 2 Farseers, and... oh, actually 3 Wraith. And we take a lot more damage. And we enter round number 8, and suddenly Enhancement Module and Quick Cooldown both show up. Opponent here does go for the Quick Cooldown, which will mean that he'll get access to his oil again. Intensive Training will be available every round. And he'll have the electromagnetic impact next turn again. But I couldn't say no to the enhancement module. It is simply so good. Especially when you have boats, which is the biggest unit that you can still give an item and has the highest level up cost. And so we level the boat, sell it, make 250 profit, and then just buy another boat again. Because I don't need these boats to be very high level. I think I already have the damage on my board from the Phoenixes, which we've now given range. And we also level this Phoenix on the right one more time. It didn't do too well last round, so I'm leveling it, kind of abandoning this side. We'll probably sell that next turn, and then this Overlord will get 2 free levels once we retrieve the item from those Phoenixes. We also put a Rhino here to kind of distract the Wraith that was there potentially and add a Phoenix, but opponent sells out of it. Now we go for the temp range, and I actually don't loan this time. I did loan last round, but didn't feel the need to go for it this turn. And now let's see how this engagement goes. The Rhinos will be going down. The Wraith is locked on, but for now it still has that photon coating protection. That will wear off, and as soon as it does, the Farseers will EMP it. Still though, the Wraith here in the middle is completely safe. We'll take out the big Wraith from the opponent. We've got some Phoenixes left. And is this gonna be enough? It doesn't quite look like it. It's a close affair, but again, Farseer EMP will turn off the Wraith. And much like the other rounds, as the oil here is kind of spazzing out a little bit, it will be the Wraith prevailing. Don't know what's still alive. Must be a unit of some sort. Oh, my Fangs over here. And the Farseer will win, but it's only a marginal win. And I feel like my comp is starting to take more shape. And as it does that, we get more rounds with more intensive trainings. And a whole bunch more resources. And now we get another quick cooldown showing up. Keep in mind my opponent already took one. And, well, that pretty much gives us the Exodia, right? Now we have 2 intensive trainings every round. And an enhancement module, which allows me to build a level 3 Overlord instantly after selling my Phoenix. Our Wraith at this point are both level 5. I clicked the tech that I was supposed to click earlier, which is the floating artillery array. And EMP is back off cooldown. There's also a Wasp Swarm available from my opponent. And we buy another Wraith, and I probably should buy another Overlord, but it seems like I don't have the money for that. And I'm not sure that I saw this Wasp Swarm. The right tower is level 2, so it takes a pretty long time to take out for Wasps. But the left tower is still level 1, and I mean, there's some Phoenixes there, but hopefully the split here won't be too bad, and the Phoenixes can just take care of the Wasps. We get another flank coming in on the right, but we level our tower a second time. We also go for the second attack enhancement, since that really does benefit the 8-gun Wraith a lot. And it doesn't look like this split is too bad. Phoenixes will be able to get rid of those Wasps. And the right tower is simply going to be too tanky to really create a problem for me. Wraith will do a great job. Eventually some of them will get EMP'd, but we still have that level 3 Overlord that is now top on damage on this round, as it's taking down another Wraith. We will get debuffed, but only 5 seconds. And as we take the tower from the opponent, I think we will have managed to finally win this game. It took a little bit of time, but eventually our comp manages to prevail, and well, we're scaling, right, so hard in this game. Having both of those intensive trainings from the get-go, then getting an enhancement module on top, and a quick cooldown to top it off, really does make it a difficult fight for our opponent. We only win by 4 hit points, so it could have gone another round, but I think it would have been really tough for him to mount a comeback here, because next round the Overlord would have leveled by itself. We then would have added 2 more levels to make a level 6 Overlord, and could have sold that for, well, a really high amount of resources, and just invest that into whatever we wanted, right? Could have even bought a factory or whatever our heart desires. This is one of the most broken things that you can get in the game. If you manage to somehow get your hands on intensive training plus enhancement module, and then a quick cooldown, or even multiple intensive trainings, and your opponent doesn't have the same combination, the game for you will just be ridiculous. You will have so much more resources, especially when you make use of some expensive giants and leveling them, that the game becomes really unfair. So yeah, some mistakes in this game for sure. Photon coating Rhino, bit of a mistake, shouldn't have clicked that. And kind of some positioning issues as well with the Phoenixes that had to get sold. But overall, we managed to prevail with just having, well, incredibly high level units. All right, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this combo. Have you used it before? Did you know that this worked this way? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date on latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.